I followed my wife that night, and even now I wish I hadn't. The street was quiet, almost too quiet, the kind of silence that makes every small sound feel loud. My footsteps echoed in my ears as I stayed a few steps behind her, careful not to be seen. My heart was racing so fast it felt like it might give me away. For weeks something felt wrong: late-night messages, sudden smiles at her phone, cold replies when I tried to talk. Every time I asked, she brushed me off like I was nothing. "You're overthinking," she said. "Stop acting insecure." But that night, I needed the truth. She turned a corner and walked toward a small cafe I didn't even know existed. Dim lights glowed through the windows. She paused at the door, fixed her hair, and smiled. Not the smile she gave me anymore, a different one. A softer one. That's when my chest tightened. I stopped across the street, hiding behind a parked car. I told myself to walk away, to go home and forget all of this, but my feet refused to move. Then the door opened. A man stepped out. The moment I saw his face, my world froze. I knew him. Not a stranger, not just anyone. Someone I trusted, someone who had been in my home, sat at my table, laughed with me. And then she walked straight into his arms. No hesitation, no guilt, just comfort. In that single moment, everything I believed in shattered. I wasn't imagining things. I wasn't insecure. I was just blind. Before that night, the signs were already there. I just didn't want to see them. It started small. She began coming home late, saying work was busy. At first, I believed her. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? She was my wife. But then the little things began to change. She stopped asking about my day. She stopped laughing at my jokes. Even when we sat together, it felt like she was somewhere else. Her phone became her world, always in her hand, always face down when I walked in. If a message came, she would quickly check it and smile, but never share why. That smile used to be mine. Now it felt like it belonged to someone else. One night I asked her directly, "Is everything okay between us?" She didn't even look at me. "You think too much," she said. "Stop making problems where there are none." Her words hit harder than I expected. After that, I stopped asking. But inside, the questions only grew louder. Was I not enough anymore? Did I change, or did she? I started watching her without meaning to. Not in a crazy way, just noticing things. The way she dressed better when going out alone. The way she got nervous when I walked into the room suddenly. The way her voice softened on certain calls. Every little detail felt like a piece of a puzzle I didn't want to solve. Still, I tried to convince myself I was wrong. I told myself, "You're overthinking, you're just scared." But deep down, I knew something was breaking. And the worst part, I felt it happening right in front of me, and I did nothing. I stood there, frozen, as she held him like I no longer existed. My mind kept telling me this wasn't real, that maybe I misunderstood, maybe there was some explanation, but my eyes saw everything. The way she smiled at him, the way her hand rested on his chest, the way she leaned in like she belonged there. That wasn't confusion, that wasn't a mistake. That was love, or something close to it. And it wasn't for me. I stayed hidden in the shadows, my body refusing to move. Every second felt like a knife pushing deeper into my chest. I wanted to walk away, but I couldn't. It was like I needed to suffer through every moment just to finally accept the truth. He said something that made her laugh. That laugh, I hadn't heard it in so long. It broke me. I remembered the nights I tried to make her smile, the times I planned small surprises, hoping to bring us closer again. She always said she was tired. She always said maybe later. But here she wasn't tired. Here she was alive. Tears filled my eyes, but I wiped them away quickly. I didn't want to look weak, even if no one could see me. Then he pulled her closer. And she didn't stop him. That was the moment everything inside me collapsed. There was no more doubt, no more questions, no more hope. Just truth. Cold, painful, and impossible to ignore. I wasn't losing her. I had already lost her. And the worst part, she didn't even look back. I went home before she did. I don't even remember how I got there. My body moved on its own like I was empty inside. When I walked into the house, everything looked the same, but it didn't feel the same anymore. This place used to feel warm. Now it felt like a lie. I sat on the couch in the dark, staring at nothing. My mind kept replaying what I saw, her smile, his arms, that moment, over and over again. I wanted to forget, but I couldn't. Hours passed before I heard the door open. She walked in like nothing had happened, calm, normal, like she hadn't just destroyed everything we built. "Hey," she said softly. I looked at her face, searching for guilt, for fear, for anything. There was nothing. "Hey," I replied. My voice sounded strange, like it didn't belong to me. She went on talking about her day, work, traffic, small things that didn't matter anymore. I sat there and listened, feeling smaller with every word. She lied so easily, so naturally. And I let her. That was the moment I realized something painful. It wasn't just her betrayal that broke me. It was me. I had ignored the signs. I had stayed quiet. I had accepted less again and again just to keep the peace. I looked at myself and felt ashamed. Not because she cheated, but because I allowed myself to be treated like I didn't matter. That night I didn't sleep. I lay there beside her, staring at the ceiling, feeling like a stranger in my own life. And deep inside, something finally broke. Not my heart. My silence. The next morning, I stood in front of the mirror and didn't recognize the man looking back at me. My eyes were tired. My face looked older. There was no life in me, just pain. For a moment, I felt sorry for myself. I thought about everything I had given, my time, my trust, my love. And for what? Nothing. But then, something inside me shifted. I asked myself a simple question. How long are you going to live like this? That question hit me hard. I realized I had two choices. I could stay the same, quiet, broken, pretending everything was okay, or I could finally stand up for myself. And for the first time in a long time, I chose me. That day, I stopped chasing her attention. I stopped asking where she was going. I stopped trying to fix something that was already gone. Instead, I turned inward. I went for a walk, alone. No phone, no noise, just me and my thoughts. It felt strange at first, like I didn't know who I was without her, but with every step I felt a little stronger. I started doing small things for myself, eating better, waking up early, spending time thinking about what I wanted, not what we wanted. At home, I became quieter, but not weak. There was a difference now. I wasn't silent because I was afraid. I was silent because I was done. She noticed the change. I could see it in her eyes, confusion, curiosity. But I didn't explain anything. For the first time, I wasn't trying to be understood. I was trying to rebuild myself. And I knew this was just the beginning. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, I started to feel like myself again. Not the old version of me, the one who begged for attention and ignored the truth. No, this was someone new, someone stronger. I built a routine and followed it no matter how I felt. Early mornings, exercise, work, reading, quiet time alone. At first it was hard. My mind would still drift back to that night, but I didn't let it control me anymore. Pain was still there, but now it was fuel. I worked harder at my job. I stayed focused. People started noticing the change. They respected me more. They listened when I spoke. For the first time in a long time, I felt in control of my life. At home, everything was different too. She started watching me. I could feel it. The same woman who once ignored me was now trying to understand me, asking small questions, trying to start conversations. But something had changed inside me. I answered politely, but without emotion. I didn't argue, I didn't complain, I didn't chase. I just existed without needing her. One evening she said, "You've changed." I looked at her calmly and replied, "I had to." She didn't say anything after that, because deep down she knew why. The man who once feared losing her was gone. Now I wasn't afraid of being alone. That fear had controlled me for too long. And once it disappeared, I became free. I wasn't trying to win her back. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was building a life where I didn't need anyone to feel complete. And that was my real power. Sometimes I still think about that night. The quiet street, the dim lights, the moment everything fell apart. For a long time, I called it the worst night of my life. But now I see it differently. That night didn't destroy me. It revealed the truth. And the truth set me free. I used to believe I lost everything in that moment. My wife, my happiness, my future. But what I really lost was the version of me who accepted less than he deserved. And that was a good thing. Now when I look in the mirror, I see someone I respect. Someone who doesn't beg for love. Someone who doesn't ignore red flags. Someone who knows his worth. The house feels different now, quieter but not empty. Peaceful. We barely talk anymore. There are no more fake smiles, no more forced conversations, just distance and clarity. And honestly, I prefer it this way. Because I'm no longer pretending. I'm no longer living a lie. I've learned that love should never make you feel small. Respect should never be optional. And silence should never be the price of staying. That night opened my eyes, even though it broke my heart. But sometimes you have to break to rebuild stronger. I don't regret following her anymore. I regret only one thing. That I didn't choose myself sooner. But at least I chose myself in the end. And that's what matters. Because in losing her, I finally found me.